Nobody raises a finger. But when we meet here, there is a small problem. We need to remove ourselves from that fear. We will always meet. And he is the president of the republic, and part of that republic is Central Kenya.
Okay.
So if we have issues to raise with him, and I hope he comes again soon, because we had a meeting there in 2016.
Yes.
There are issues we raised. There are still pending issues.
Okay.
And one of the other issues he said he would want to see is equitable distribution of resources.
Across the country?
Across the country.
Okay.
And huduma kwa jamii.
Okay.
Let's talk about jamii ni watu, sio wanyama.
Okay.
Jamii is people. I want to finish this one.
Okay.
And we said we would want to see where equal representation. And I give you an example. Ruiru constituency has 150,000 voters. Are you with me? Ijara or somewhere has 20,000 voters. How really can you say we are truly, properly represented when one MP represents 150 people? So we are saying in BBI, and I support that, we would want to see a situation where one man, one vote.
Okay. One man, one
One
vote.
man, without saying, you know, people will start talking about, no, the censors were not correct. When will we have proper censors?
Okay. Okay.
You understand?
Let me speak to Honorable Commissioner here. Same question when the president said that. Did you attend the meeting to begin with?
Yes, I was at the meeting.
All right. Did you get that sense? And even because they've explained that extensively. But one of the things that the president inevitably said in that meeting, and this was reported extensively, that there are issues in the BBI that if they were to present themselves out, he will not mind, like the Prime Minister's position. He said he doesn't know, but will take it.
That's not what he said.
That's not what he said.
Honestly,
Okay, what did he say?
Just say simply, that's not what he said.
Okay.
He said the nyinyi mnasema BBI is to divide and share seats. If you say you're going to give me a seat of Prime Minister, kunipatia nguvu hakuna shida.
Okay.
But that's not what we are looking at.
Okay.
So really, in context, that's what he said.
In context, okay.
Yes.
You might have picked a small part out of what he said.
Yes, and I think that the president started from very far. I personally saw him in two hats. One hat, the president of Kenya, but the other hat is the Kikuyu Nation leader. And he was wearing both hats in that meeting. But one of the things that happened with him and with his speech was tracing from 2007 post-election violence, 2013 elections, 2017 elections, and he spent a lot of time on the 2007 post-election violence that we saw in this country. And that now leaves the entire region clear on the handshake, that the handshake was not just in vain. The handshake, he saw circumstances in 2017, 2018 that were similar to what he saw in 2007, 2008. And he mentioned the places, Huruma, Mathare, Kibra, and he even gave the example of the election that just ended in Kibra. Okay. Before that, that wouldn't have been possible. But one of the other things about the president's speech, which was very good, it was postponing the politics. We spoke in that meeting about a lot of problems. I'm personally here today because of the memorandum we gave him on coffee. Yes. Coffee was in Sagana 1, 2016, and coffee was in Sagana 2, 2019. And coffee needs to be resolved. There is 3 billion shillings that needs to go to coffee farmers. So part of what the president was saying, the reason I don't want us to do too much politics is because we have an agenda for the people. We have an agenda on development, we have an agenda of tea, an agenda of coffee. So if we suspend the politics, it gives us an environment that is good enough for legislation, for budgets, for the work that needs to be done. And that also is the context of the handshake. The handshake is not an end in itself. The handshake is a platform for further development. And I really personally loved the meeting because the clarity with which we all received the news on the handshake and the information on handshake now makes it a bit better for us. And just to go back to Murkomen's issue, I think that the president did a good job of balancing the Jubilee administration that we have in the sense of the president and the deputy president, and also now, so we have the president and the deputy president in the house first, and he has extended unity to the former prime minister, the handshake. Okay. And that is a good house where all the three leaders are inside the house. So that's what the meeting did.
Can I just correct one thing that Honorable Kabogo talked about? You see, when you cannot compare, I don't agree with Honorable Kabogo that you can compare the president with another person presiding over a goat auction, say the deputy president or Murkomen or anybody else. You know, the president is the president of Kenya. Yeah? If he meets people of Central Province, the people of Nyanza are waiting for his meeting. There is no a substitute.
So far,
that's a fact.
True, yes.
So that you cannot tell the people of Nyanza Province, you were meeting with Honorable Raila Odinga, you have talked, that's enough. they are still waiting for their president. You know, the President Uhuru Kenyatta, I know, is, as a matter of fact, and I say there is absolutely nothing wrong with him speaking his mother tongue or meeting people from an area where he comes from. There is absolutely nothing wrong. The thing that I believe in, why I insist that he was there as the President of Kenya to solve problems affecting Kenyans. It's just that because this one is Kenyans that come from his region, the conversation has now gone to, why I'm saying this, why I say the point of is the President of Kenya, is because so many people were trying to drive this conversation to be about Uhuru asserting himself in his community as if there was a doubt about his leadership. He has led that community before even he led Kenya. So there was no doubt. Number two,
let me respond to that one because it's a simple matter.
Yeah.
I think you had my beginning.
Yeah.
I said the president has never left his
I agree
position.
with you, yes.
And when I brought the context of the auctions, I was bringing in the matter that the deputy president, who is the deputy principal of the republic, attends these things.
Okay.
I was not saying.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But Senator, I get something.
It should also not
appear.
appear. It should not appear.
Yes.
As though, you know, it should also not appear as though I am saying that there is anything wrong with the president speaking
But
mother tongue
when I read through what you're saying, Senator, when I read what you're saying, through what you're saying, this is the president of Kenya.
Yes.
Perhaps you're concerned and you're not bringing it out. Is because he spoke in a language that is very limited to the audience.
No, but
perhaps
you know
that's
that
what you don't want to talk about.
That meeting was closed. The president spoke language that people of that place were understanding.
Then how do you
There's
say,
no
how do you
complainant.
justify
There's
that
no
it was meant
complainant.
for Kenya?
No, it's
Not
not.
only
It's
that,
meant
not
for Kenya
only-
because
Ken,
can I explain why
not
it's
only
meant for
the president spoke in a language, even those
who are
few
there
that spoke
spoke
there,
in that
they
language.
did not speak in their language.
Yes, exactly.
Some spoke Kimeru.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm just saying,
Really?
they understood each other.
Sort of,
Those are all of
yes.
the
But-
languages of the
but-
Mount Kenya region.
You're
But
asking
can
me
we go
whether-
to my question? Before we go on,
Senator, finish.
we are going out of the matter.
No, we're not going out of the matter.
Just that issue.
I
needs
need
to be
to
sorted.
There is no
settle this
issue
with
to
the
be
senator.
sorted.
I need to settle it with the
The
senator.
president speaks fluent Kikuyu.
Yes.
Which is true.
If his message was going to get down to every other person who was there in Kikuyu, this is not only new. We have gone to meetings in Nakuru.
Absolutely.
We've gone to meetings in
Even in public.
And those that are speaking there, they switch. How many times has the deputy
But I get,
president
if
switched?
you understand
idea
where
is unity in
Murkomen is
diversity.
speaking,
Yeah.
the
I
way
think
he's speaking,
people
are
the
languages
sense
that
that,
want
to
yes,
say.
I get the sense that perhaps he was concerned. This is the president of Kenya. This message was meant for
Not at
everyone.
all.
But how comes it was in this
That
limited?
message, Ken, was
Yes.
not meant for everybody. It was meant for the audience that was there. And I'm saying he spoke in a language that I understood locally. The reason why I want to emphasize the fact that he was speaking, even when he speaks in his mother tongue, even when he addresses people from his community, he's doing so at the president
But
of
who
Kenya.
says
It's because,
otherwise,
no.
Murkomen? Who says
It's
otherwise?
not-
Because you're really belaboring
why-
this
why
point.
I
Who
was saying
says
that point?
otherwise?
Why I'm
Yes.
saying that point?
Yes.
Is because the media spend a lot of time that period,
Ya
and they
kufu-
and they
media ya kufunga nyama.
no problem, but it's important. That is what the public is consuming.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that most of the analysis went into the issue of he was trying to fix so and so, he was doing this politics, he was going back to his community to sort out his. I mean, let's not pretend.
You know,
Even the
I need to bring-
where I take what my take home, my
Yes.
home. The thing that I take home,
Yes.
my home take, is it take home?
My take home,
Yeah,
yes.
my take home is this, that the president, to understand the president's message, you must contextualize the fact that he was speaking as the president of Kenya, contrary to what is being reported out there. Number two is that why we agree with the president is because he made, if this is what is reported is true, and I have to say that, and I appreciate my colleagues who are there because
Your
they confirm.
contribution is
They
so
confirm.
deep,
You know,
like
they
you were there.
We
were in state lodge.
Yeah, let me
We were
confirm.
in state lodge.
I understand. I need to bring commissioner. Yes, I need to bring commissioner.
No, this is the only thing I'll
Especially
say.
because I'm
Yes.
not able to compete.
That the president has said that all the reports that we are going to receive is going to be subjected to national conversation. It's our belief and hope that that is the direction, and we believe, and we have no reason to doubt the president. Number
Yes.
two is to say that in this conversation going forward, why I trust what the president said is because, like my colleague, my sister here said, Nyokafi, you know, the things that were discussed were things like poverty, dealing with poverty. That means, you know, for some of us who come from maize region, sugar region, the tea people from Mount Kenya, and coffee and rice, and, you know, tea is also in Kericho and other parts. Things like youth unemployment, things like elimination of violence. There's something I will be happy to hear.
You know, I'm confused.
Only one thing.
I am confused.
Yeah.
I am confused, Senator.
Yeah.
You have just made it clear that this was meant for that particular audience. You just shifted and taken it out of that audience and distributed it across the country.
Because that audience is not removed from the rest of Kenya.
All right.
If the message, and I kept saying if the message, and Kabogo is confirming that I'm right.
Yeah.
If the message was about dealing with handshake, ensuring that our country, and I'm just saying as an example,
yes.
that putting the country together, dealing with matters of violence, ending the culture of violence, things dealing with poverty and so forth, that message is good for Kenya as much as it is good
for that region.
I'm
taking a break, but I have to speak to you on this. Sure. The other time that the president met that group, especially from that region, the Akorino, the tone was quite different, and the deputy president also attended, but it was also a limited audience, right? Sure. What was the difference between this and the one in Sagana?
I mean, again, the Akorino is a particular religious sect, so that was a different meeting altogether. This particular one in Sagana was a leaders' meeting, and leadership in its wider sense. So political leaders in the sense of the elected leaders, former elected leaders, leaders in the professional circles, leaders in the farmer societies, leaders with women, leaders in the youth groups, leaders in the religious sector, the Kikuyu Council of Elders. So this was a much broader sectors.
Which is true, but the president still spoke in his native language, and the tone was different.
The context the context with the Akorino also came at a difficult time. I think the context with the Sagana 2 meeting was the context of unity for the region, which is important.
Okay.
But unity for the region.
That was the starting point.
Unity of purpose.
Okay.
We have to have unity of purpose in the issues that affect our people. And I agree with what Murkomen is saying. When we resolve the issues of coffee farmers in Central, we resolve the issues of coffee farmers across the country. The Akorino is a bit difficult. I don't know whether you're in the Akorino. None of us here was in the Akorino meeting. And because that is a religious grouping, let's deal with the one that we know of. The one in Sagana was a leaders meeting. There was a similar one in 2016 that had issues on the table and had coffee, had
the one that
industrialization. No, 2016 in Sagana.
So
this was Sagana too.
Okay.
And these meetings are good in the sense of the leaders that they bring on. Because again, there is no monopoly of answers. True. The answers are with as many leaders in the society as are possible.
Okay.
And so Murkomen is right that we start in Mount Kenya. It's easier to start politics from a local area. But if you resolve tea issues now, like you resolve the tea debts, for example, you would resolve tea debts in Mount Kenya and you would resolve tea debts across the region. And you know, the idea also was that our members of parliament must then speak about these issues, because the president's frustration is what the members of parliament are saying and the issues on the ground are not the same.
Okay.